Dear children, welcome back to the English class. I hope you are getting adjusted to the new process of learning. Aren't you? Okay, fine. In the previous class, we were discussing about the homeopath. Do you remember the condition or situation of the homeopath? The homeopath sat like a stone image in flesh. ഞാനൊരു ശിലയായിരുന്നു. You all are very anxious to know what happened to the homeopath. The homeopath prayed to God. God help me. I am helpless. Did God hear his prayer? Did God save him? Okay. Before we move on to today's class, let us go through the assignment given to you in the previous class. Can anyone tell me the assignment given to you? Yes. You were given to write the character sketch of the homeopath. And here is the character sketch written by one of the students. Please have a look at the screen. Do you remember the previous class? The situation of the homeopath? He sat still like a stone image in flesh. Now, before we move on to today's class, have a look at the previous class once again.
The Snake and the Mirror by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. It is the story of a doctor who has just started his medical practice. He earns a meager income and lives in a small rented room, which is an outhouse with a tiled roof. The beam on which the gable is supported is full of rats, which keep moving in and out of the room. The room has no electricity supply. One summer night, the doctor takes his dinner at a restaurant and returns home. As the doctor opens the door of his room, he hears a noise from above, but he does not react because he is used to such noises. He lights the kerosene lamp, takes off his coat, shirt and vest, and opens the windows. He takes out a medical book from the table drawer to read. He keeps it on the table on which a lamp, a large mirror, and a small comb are placed. He opens the book and sits down. As he's sitting in a chair in front of the mirror, he looks at his image. He thinks that, as he is not married and is a doctor too, he should look handsome to get a better match for himself. He decides to shave daily, grow a thin mustache, and keep an attractive smile on his face. Gradually, his thoughts shift from self-admiration to planning for his marriage. He thinks that he would marry a rich doctor having a good practice. He would choose a fat lady as his wife so that she would not be able to run fast and catch him in case she chases him for doing some mistakes. He's so engrossed in daydreaming that he does not pay attention to the sudden silence. The rats have stopped scampering and there is a sound of something falling behind him. It happens so instantly that he does not get any time to react. By the time he turns around to see, a snake has wriggled over the back of the chair and lands on his shoulders. It coils around his left arm so firmly that his arm starts aching. It is a dangerous cobra with its hood spreading out, hardly 3 inches from his face. He sits there like a stone statue, afraid to move, lest the snake may bite him. He thinks of various medicines he has to take in case the snake bites him. In this moment of fear of death, he realizes that God has punished him for being too proud and arrogant.
I know all of you are very eager to know what really happened to the homeopath. In the following paragraphs, we are going to study what happened to the homeopathic doctor. Here is the reading for you. It seemed as if God appreciated that. The snake turned its head. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. I do not claim that it was the first snake that had ever looked into a mirror, but it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. Was it admiring its own beauty? Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache or using eyeshadow and mascara or wearing a vermilion spot on its forehead? I did not know anything for certain. What sex was the snake? Was it male or female? I will never know, for the snake unwound itself from my arm and slowly slithered into my lap. From there, it crept onto the table and moved towards the mirror. Perhaps it wanted to enjoy its reflection at close quarters. I was no mere image cut in granite. I was suddenly a man of flesh and blood. Still holding my breath, I got up from the chair. I quietly went out through the door into the veranda. From there, I leapt into the yard and ran for all I was worth. Phew! Each of us heaved a sigh of relief. All of us lit beedies. Somebody asked, "Doctor, is your wife very fat?" "No," the doctor said. God willed otherwise. My life companion is a thin, reedy person with the gift of a sprinter. Someone else asked, Doctor, when you ran, did the snake follow you? The doctor replied, I ran and ran till I reached a friend's house. Immediately I smeared oil all over myself and took a bath. I changed into fresh clothes. The next morning at about 8:30, I took my friend and one or two others to my room to move my things from there. But we found we had little to carry. Some thief had removed almost all of my things. The room had been cleaned out, but not really. The thief had left behind one thing as a final insult. What was that? I asked. The doctor said, my vest, the dirty one. The fellow had such a sense of cleanliness. The rascal could have taken it and used it after washing it with soap and water. Did you see the snake the next day, doctor? The doctor laughed. I have never seen it since. It was a snake which was taken with its own beauty. God appreciated his prayer. The snake turned its head. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection in the mirror. Do you remember what happened to the homeopath when he looked into the mirror? Just like the homeopath himself, was the snake trying to enjoy its reflection? Was the snake admiring its own beauty? Probably, yes. Was the snake trying to grow a mustache? Or even use eyeshadow and mascara? Or even wearing a vermilion mark on its forehead? The snake slowly unwound itself from his arm and moved towards his lap, and from there onto the table. And the snake slowly moved towards the mirror. Perhaps the snake wanted to enjoy its reflection very close. The homeopath was not mere image cut in granite. He became a man of blood and flesh. What did that homeopath do? Now he is a man of blood and flesh. Slowly the homeopath got up from the chair. Still holding his breath, he walked towards the door and through the door got onto the veranda, and from there leapt onto the yard and ran for all he was worth. Each of them heaved a sigh of relief. One of his friends asked him, Doctor, is your wife a fat lady? Doctor smiled and said, God willed the other way. My wife is a thin, reedy person, just like a sprinter. Somebody asked, Doctor, did the snake follow you when you ran? Doctor said, he ran and ran till he reached in the house of his friend. And there he applied oil all over his body and took a bath. Changed into fresh clothes and went to sleep. The next day morning, he took his friend and one or two others to his room. What was the purpose of the doctor to take his friend and others to his room? Yes, he decided that he should vacate his room. He did not want to live in that room anymore. So he came there with his friends to take away his belongings from his room. When they reached the house of the homeopath, they found they had little to carry. Why they found they had nothing to carry? Yes, the doctor had forgotten to close the door when he ran away. That night, some thief had taken all his belongings, and the thief left behind one thing as a final insult. And what was that thing that the thief left behind? Yes, his dirty vest. The doctor tells that foolish, stupid thief could have taken it and used it after washing it with soap and water. But that thief had a sense of cleanliness. Someone asked the doctor again, "Doctor, did you see the snake the next day?" The doctor laughed and said, "It was the only snake which was taken with its own beauty." Now it is time for silent reading. Remember, when you read, you should have a pencil with you and you should underline the new words which you come across and find out the meaning of those words with the help of a dictionary. That is the end of the lesson, the snake and the mirror, by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. Dear students, I hope you have understood or followed the lesson very well. Before we conclude the lesson, shall we discuss the textual question answers? Here are the questions for you. I was suddenly a man of flesh and blood. What does the doctor mean by this statement? The homeopath regained his consciousness when the snake leapt from his arm. He got up from his chair and ran for his life. Why did the doctor run to his friend's house? Did the snake harm the doctor? Why? The homeopath ran to his friend's house, took a bath, and changed into new clothes. No, the snake did not harm him. The thief had left behind one thing as a final insult. What was the insult? The thief left behind the homeopath's dirty vest. Yes, don't forget to write the question answers and send them to your teacher. And before we conclude, one more assignment, which is a sure question for the examination. That is diary entry. That is a definite question which can be asked for the SSLC examination. So the assignment which you have to prepare yourself is here. Dear students, with this we wind up today's class. Don't forget to complete your assignment. Until we meet again, bye bye.